and I refer the member to Speaker's Ruling 79 bar 1. I call the Honourable Member Gareth Hughes.
Thank you, Mr Chair. Kia ora and mihi nui kia koutou kia ora. I've just got a tweet, Mr Chair, that shows that the House has been spending more time debating parliamentary procedure than it has this debate. Sure been interesting. Now, Mr Chair, I had to rise to take a call when I heard the member Louise Upston's speech, because I too was on the Select Committee. And, Mr Chair, I've been a student probably more recently than the member, Louise Upston. I've still got my student loan, which I'm paying off. And, Mr Chair, I had to take exception at her characterisation that this bill, which is going to be passed tonight, was the voice of students, because it's patently untrue. Mr Chair, we had 180 oral submissions, 98% of which were opposed. Mr Chair, we had 4,837 written submissions by students that were also the vast majority opposed. Mr Chair, we've heard from editors, students, we heard from postgrad students, we heard from former students, we heard from student presidents, student radio DJs, we heard from student editors, we heard from institutions, we heard from local bodies, all vigorously opposed to this bill because they know what the impact is going to be. Now, I was interested to hear from the member Louise Upston because it was an important period hearing those submissions from all those thousands of students on the Select Committee which were unified in their call to not pass this bill. And the national members on the committee went into the committee with an open mind. They heard the submissions, they asked some great questions, and we had some good discussions around what we could be doing around real transitional measures, which is what we're debating now with clause section 9. The real transitional measures, which is a more explicit opt-out provision, because what the Human Rights Commission, of course, says is there's no issue of human rights, no problem here with the freedom of association. But what the National Party has done by deciding to vote for this terrible piece of legislation is they've painted themselves in a corner. So now they have to come up with extreme comments to try and back up their position, because actually the evidence, and patently untrue, the students do not want it. I refer to the UMR poll, which showed 72% of students were opposed. The fact is, this bill isn't a question of choice. This bill simply is an ideological solution in search of a problem. It's damaging, and what we're seeing now with clause 9 is a confusing mess. It's a confusing clause to go with a confusing and damaging bill. And I ask the member, Heather Roy, to take a call to explain exactly why this transitional clause, section 9, is needed, what it's going to actually mean for those students who are currently enrolled or those who enrol. Because I agree with the member Grant Robertson. The fact is, a first-year student, if they enrol after the 1st of January 2012, which is only 4 months away, let's not forget this bill is passing so soon to the start of the next university year. Though first-year student on the 1st of January 2012, when they enrol at university, maybe they left Gisborne like I did, they've gone to the big smoke, they don't have hundreds of dollars burning a hole in their pocket. Not when they've got to buy books, pay bond, pay the other student levies, which this government is also administrating. I mean, many of these students don't know what to expect at university. They don't anticipate they'll need student advocacy support if they run into a lecturer who mismarks their grade or is abusive in class. They don't think they'll need to use student medical services. They don't ever think they'll need to use the student bank. These are what first-year students don't realise when they first go to university. And the fact is, because this bill is taking away the universal aspect of the student membership fees, they can't put it on the student loan anymore. They have to go then and put it on the course-related costs. Now, let's not forget that course-related cost amount, that $1,000 you can borrow a year, hasn't been changed since 1992. That's as old as Shortland Street, yet we're expected to buy more with less and now put the student fees also on the course-related costs. So I invite the member Heather Roy to take a call to help explain this cause, because I think a lot of institutions, a lot of student associations are going to be confused how it means. And that's quite a good example of how this bill is damaging, is confusing, because now we're 4 months away. Most institutions have already set their budgets for 2012. Most student associations have already set their budgets for 2012. Yet in a fit of irresponsibility, this Parliament is passing, because of the National Party, this bill which is going to damage institutions who haven't been able to plan for adequate transition methods. What we should be discussing instead, because we can't, because we're rushed, is what adequate transition methods would actually be if we were going it. Now, I'd prefer a conversation around the opt-out provision, which I think everyone could live with. Mr Chair.
I call
Mr.
the
Chair.
Honourable Heather Roy.
Thank you, Mr Chair, and I rise